Before I start the podcast, it occurred to me that there was something that I was neglecting to do, something that I have needed to say for a long time. And I'm going to, if you'll grant me the opportunity, I'd like to do that right now. I'm addressing my wife, Tracy. Thank you. 21 years of love, your loyalty, laughter. Thank you for being the heart of our home and the steady hand behind everything that I have ever done, especially Straight Talk Commerce Podcast. I know this journey has had its share of twists and turns and decisions that you may not have agreed with fully, but you stood by me. You stood by me anyway, and you always did it with strength and grace and love. You have been my rock. You have been my partner. You have been the best mother that our three girls could ever ask for. You've held this family together with a quiet power, never asking for the spotlight, although I know this would work better if it were you delivering it. And you certainly deserve it more than anybody. Trey, you're my best friend. You are my greatest blessing. And after 21 years, I still look at you with even more gratitude and awe than those early days when we began our marriage. I could not be who I am or where I am without you. And I love you more than words could ever say. Not just my words, but any words. So thank you very much.
No fluff, no hype, just the real deal. Wayne Altman's here, yeah, you know the drill. Talking business, talking shop, making moves non-stop. From e-com to hustle, straight talk, no props. Straight talk, no gimmicks, no lies. Hey, I'll break it down with the sharpest minds. Money moves, mindset, grind. If you're ready to win, then tune in live. Big names, big games, all the lessons they bring from Jelly Belly to AA Kings, from the startup grind to the top tier pros. We crack the code. Now here we go. Straight talk, commerce, getting to know with Wayne Altman. Let's start the show.
All right, everybody, welcome back. AI. I know that this episode is going to drive some people absolutely crazy. I'm about to go in deep on artificial intelligence, and there is a certain group of people that are all in. They ignore the 10 things I'm about to go over. They completely ignore, bury their head in the sand, but I'm going to do it anyway. We're going to go over the 10 things, 10 foundational limitations of artificial intelligence, and these are things that are probably not going to be overcome. So let's get started. Let's bite the bullet. AI lacks human-like common sense. It can pass a bar exam, but it cannot tell you whether you should refrigerate an apple pie. AI is great at syntax, but it's terrible at semantics. And for all its processing power, AI still does not have what you'd call common sense, basic common sense. It can write code. It can summarize a court case. It can help you draft a marketing plan. But if you ask it a question that a 5-year-old could answer, it will probably fail hilariously. Let me give you an example. Go and ask ChatGPT, can I use a shoe as a drinking cup? It will probably tell you, yes, shoes can hold liquid, so it is possible to use it as an alternative container. Now, technically, that's true, but in practicality, that is gross. Or, if I put my phone in a microwave, could it charge it faster? Artificial intelligence may try to give you a straight answer on this. It doesn't realize that you're joking or that it's a very bad idea. It doesn't have the instinct to say, wait, are you serious? And here's why that happens. AI learns from patterns in data. It does not learn from lived experiences. It's never broken a glass. It's never slipped on ice. It doesn't know what obviously dangerous or socially awkward even looks like, it feels like. It has zero intuition. There's no gut check. There's no real world understanding in artificial intelligence. And in business terms, imagine an AI helping you write customer support scripts. It might say, "We apologize that you're experiencing issues with the product. Please enjoy your day." Now, that sounds very polite, but if the customer just got injured by your product, that's incredibly tone deaf. Or in e-commerce, AI may suggest promoting hot cocoa in Florida in July during a heat wave. You understand what I'm saying here? It lacks any nuance whatsoever. When you outsource your decisions to artificial intelligence, you also risk outsourcing any and all judgment, and AI does not have any to offer you. Common sense is what keeps your business from making dumb mistakes that will alienate your customers, your partners, or any regulators. AI isn't there yet, and we shouldn't assume that we'll ever be there. 2. AI does not and cannot and will never understand emotion. Sentiment analysis does not equal empathy. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Chatbots that apologize for your grandmother's death with, "I hope that helps." AI can analyze language for emotional tone. It can tell if someone sounds angry or sad or excited, but it doesn't feel anything. It doesn't know what it's like to lose a loved one, to land a big deal, or feel the adrenaline rush of a major risk. Here's the difference. Humans respond to emotion with empathy, with intuition, and even body language. AI responds with syntax. It mimics feelings the way a parrot will mimic speech. It knows the words, but not the meaning. Let me give you a real world example of this. There's a case where a grieving customer messaged a chatbot saying that their spouse had passed away. And the AI responded, "I'm sorry to hear that. Would you like to hear a joke to cheer you up?" Polite? Maybe. Appropriate? Not even close. And that's the real danger of synthetic empathy. It sounds fine until it really matters to your business. AI-generated email will most often miss any emotional nuance. It might write, "We regret your inconvenience. Your concern has been noted," which reads like a traffic violation rather than a human response to a paying customer who's pissed. In HR or customer service, this becomes a trust killer. No one wants their heartfelt concern answered by a robot with bad legal advice or disclaimers. And here's why this matters. In leadership, in sales, marketing, and especially conflict resolution, emotional intelligence is everything. You cannot sell someone a vision. You cannot negotiate a partnership. You cannot diffuse a crisis with AI, with robotic empathy. Artificial intelligence can simulate warmth. It cannot create it. And in business, warmth, that's what builds loyalty. People remember how you made them feel, not just what you said, how you made them feel. Number 3, AI struggles with context. It's smart, but it is not present. AI can read and process massive amounts of text, but it doesn't always understand what matters most in that conversation, in what it's read, in the document, or in the decision. It lacks any sense of continuity. You can be 30 minutes into a conversation and it will forget the premise or it will contradict itself. For example, ask it to write a business pitch for women in their 40s, and later on add a detail about Gen Z branding or products. And it will blend those audiences without realizing its contradiction. And that's a problem. AI thinks in fragments. It does not think in narratives. It doesn't know which ideas are foundational versus just passing mentions. Now, let me give you some real world examples of this. A customer service bot that forgets you already explained the issue in the last message. It's very frustrating. An AI resume screener that doesn't understand a 3-month employment gap due to maternity leave because it lacks any human context whatsoever. And in marketing, you might get an ad headline that sounds really catchy, but it doesn't align with the emotional tone of your brand or your audience's actual pain points. The deeper issue here is humans intuitively understand social, emotional, and historical context. AI just sees data. It doesn't have any idea why the tone matters, why sarcasm is funny, or why the same phrase can be encouraging or offensive depending on the timing. It's not aware of the moment. It is not experiencing the conversation. It's not reading the room. It can't read the room. And here's why that matters. In business, context is everything. Whether you're negotiating a contract, writing an email, or launching a product, what works in one situation can fall flat in another. And if AI misreads the context, it can cost you a heck of a lot more than trust, credibility, and customers. Number 4, creativity. Creativity is limited and it is often penalized with artificial intelligence. AI can remix, it can mimic, it can mash up, but it doesn't ever truly invent. It relies on patterns from existing data that it's learned, but no personal insight or lived experiences. It's like a DJ spinning records from other artists. It can create a great mix, but it never writes any music. And even when AI generates quote unquote new content, people really recognize it and they will very often reject it. Well, one of the first questions people come to you with, did you do that with AI? Even musicians are now becoming very offended because anything they create, they're now being accused of using AI to create it. Bias against AI content is very real. Publishers are starting to flag it. Google will de-rank it. Artists and audiences will devalue it, calling it soulless or copycat. And in a world that values authenticity, AI created work will get treated as second class, third class, even if it's technically very well made. So even if you get AI to create something decent, your audience may not like it or trust it, or you. Number 5, data bias equals biased output. Garbage in equals garbage out. One of my main criticisms of artificial intelligence, it cannot be any smarter than what you put in it. It can't go outside the breadth of human knowledge. Real world example here. Hiring AIs that learn bias from historical resumes. AI does not invent ideas. It learns from data. And guess what? Data reflects history. That means every bias, every prejudice, every blind spot you've ever had gets baked into the machine, even if you're careful. And here's the core truth. AI is not neutral. It's impossible for AI to become neutral. It is an automated history. It replicates what it sees over and over and over again, even when it is wrong, unfair, or outdated. It just keeps repeating those patterns. Let me give you an example of this. Hiring bias. An AI resume screener trained on 10 years of tech Hiring data learned to penalize resumes with the word women or women chess club. Anything in the resume that had women in the resume was penalized and downgraded. Why? Because historically, men were hired more often at that company. So the AI that was used learned male resumes performed better. Healthcare disparities. This is a huge one. Medical AIs have underdiagnosed conditions in women, minorities, because the training data was overwhelmingly based on white male patients. That's not just bias, it's very dangerous. Diagnosing things and missing things in juvenile patients because you've trained your AI in adult patients. These are the type of things that we're talking about here. In commerce, in marketing, AI trained on historical data will show luxury items mostly to one demographic over another that does not have a history of purchasing those type luxury items. Or it may associate beauty with lighter skin tones, for example, or provide products to a darker skin tone that it doesn't, it ignores a lighter skin tone altogether. It may recommend lower credit limits to people with ethnic sounding names or gender, even if income and credit scores are identical. I'm going to give you an example of this in just a second, so buckle up. It's not doing this on purpose. It actually is doing this on purpose. It's the way that it was trained. And it was purposefully trained to do the things that it is doing. And here's why that matters. Because if you don't audit your data, you could be baking into your business discrimination. You may think you're running a merit-based system when in fact you're just automating your historical inequality. And it opens you up to legal risk, reputational damage, the loss of diverse talent and customers. This is a terrible thing. And the fix for this is not easy. Bias isn't just in the data, it's in the assumptions. Solving it will take diverse teams building and testing AI, constant review of the outcomes and edge cases, transparency about how your systems make decisions, inputting in data that is corrected for these discriminations. AI does not have an agenda, but your data does. The people who build these AI algorithms have those agendas, and your AI will follow it fast, blindly, and at scale if we're not careful. And by the way, no one is being careful. So it is absolutely going to continue. Number 6, this is another bad one. AI has no moral judgment. AI doesn't know right from wrong. It knows rules. It can recommend something that is technically legal, but ethically awful. AI can tell you what's likely to work based on data, but it can't tell you what the right thing to do is. It doesn't know the difference between ethical and unethical. It only knows what's been done before. Any idea of times in our history where that would be a bad thing? Here's the problem. AI can write a marketing email, but it has no idea that it's manipulative. It can analyze user data, but it will offer no question if that data was collected without consent. Doesn't matter to artificial intelligence. It might even recommend laying off your lowest performing employees. Sounds good. But it doesn't ask whether they were set up to fail, if they were undertrained, or if they were in the middle of a family crisis. It doesn't ask any of those things. Give you an example from the real world here. In 2023, several companies used AI tools to auto-fire employees based on performance metrics. Now, some of those firings included new hires, people on medical leave, even top performers were flagged in error. The company blamed the AI, but guess who took the PR hit? The company in question did. AI doesn't take responsibility. Humans are responsible. And here's why that matters. You can train AI to optimize for profit, but it will never ask you, should you? It will never say, is this the fair thing to do? It will never raise a red flag when your pricing model exploits the most vulnerable of your customers. If you're not careful, you're not just automating decisions, you are automating values, wrong values that you never, ever would stand for to begin with. And now you've baked it into your business. And as AI gets more powerful, companies are tempted to offload ethical decisions to the algorithm. Who gets the loan? Who gets hired? Who gets flagged for fraud? What kind of content should we push? And to who? AI is not and never will be a moral compass. It is a mirror. It reflects back to you the best and the worst of what you've already done. And just because AI can do something never does not mean it should. If you're the leader, it's on you to draw the ethical lines. Number 7, the black box problem, I like to call this. Most of the time, you don't know how AI reached a decision. You input garbage, you get garbage out, but you don't know how the decision was made. Now, that is dangerous in medicine, it's dangerous in justice, and it's dangerous in finance. One of the most frustrating and dangerous limitations of AI is even the people who built the model don't fully understand how it reaches decisions. And that's called a black box problem. Here's what that means. You give AI a prompt or a task to do, and it gives you a result, and rather quickly. But how? How did it get there? It's totally unclear. The logic is hidden. It's buried deep in millions or billions of parameters, tons of code, mountains of ones and zeros, far beyond any human readability. You're never going to find it. And here's the kicker. You cannot fix what you cannot see, and you'll never trust what you cannot explain. That's a massive problem in any high-stakes decision-making environment, especially business, medicine, the legal profession. Let's say that AI recommends rejecting a loan application. Why? No one knows. The model might be weighing credit score, zip code, age. There may be 100 other factors involved, but in a totally opaque way. If there's bias in there, or even a bug, you'd never know it until they sued you. In marketing, AI may A/B test 1,000 ad variations in seconds, and it'll pick a winner. But why? Why did that ad win? Was it the tone? Was it the image? Was it the time of day? Was it the demographic of what it knew about the people that it was presenting the ad to? If you can't understand the why, you can't replicate the success, you can't explain it to your stakeholders, and you cannot improve upon that strategy. In e-commerce, AI might adjust pricing in real time, and suddenly your top-selling item is getting no traction. You look at your dashboard and it says optimize for engagement. But what does that mean? No one knows. And this is what should keep you up at night. Black box systems are totally unaccountable. If they break something, your brand, your workflow, the customer trust, you have no way to audit the error, fix it quickly, or prevent it from happening again. And there's no one that is going to take the fall from that, save you. If you're relying on AI for critical things like customer service, fraud detection, hiring, you are begging to be making decisions that you can't explain or defend. It's just not a good place to be. And if AI was a car, the black box problem is having no steering wheel, no brakes, no idea what's under the hood. It's not you driving. You're hoping the algorithm knows where you're going and can get you there safely. In 2019, Apple and Goldman Sachs launched the Apple Card. Go look this up, 2019. Everything seemed sleek, smart, and it was powered by AI. Ooh. And then something very weird happened. David Hansen, who is a prominent software developer, tweeted out that his wife had been given 20 times less credit than he had, even though they filed joint tax returns, had very similar credit scores, and they shared all assets. His words: "The Apple Card is sexist. My wife and I have no separate assets or accounts, yet Apple's black box algorithm thinks I deserve 20 times the credit limit that she does." That tweet went viral, and even Steve Wozniak, who was a co-founder of Apple, chimed in on this and said, the same thing happened to him and his wife. What could possibly be worse? No one at Apple or Goldman could explain why it happened. The decision had been made by an AI algorithm, a classic black box, no transparency, no accountability, no explanation. Goldman Sachs claimed that there was no gender bias, but they couldn't show how the decisions were made either. Now, that led to an official investigation by the New York Department of Financial Services. Oh, boy. And here's why this story matters. This is a major tech brand, and it got burned by its own artificial intelligence. It wasn't the bias itself that triggered the outrage. It's the lack of transparency and the inability to explain the decision. And that's the black box problem. When your system cannot answer the simple question, why did you do that? In a certain world of growing AI reliance, customers, regulators, and business owners will not settle for, we don't know. It's not going to happen. Number 8. This is a big one too. And we're starting to learn more about this, and the more deals that we're making and the more AI we're bringing into the United States. This is going to be a massive problem. Artificial intelligence has a very heavy resource dependence. Training these large models costs millions and billions of dollars, and they are massive in their energy usage. For example, GPT-4 cost over $100 million to train. Now, you love to talk about how AI is free or very low cost, but behind every single AI prompt is a very real and very expensive infrastructure. And whether you're a solo entrepreneur or a Fortune 500 company, those costs add up fast. AI at scale isn't just about typing into ChatGPT. To actually integrate AI into your business, you are looking at training costs for custom models or fine-tuning the existing ones. You buy something or bring something in off the shelf, needs to be tuned to your business. Cloud compute usage. Think about AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud. Those bills, they spiral upward and they stack up. Subscription fees. I belong to probably 10, 15 different AI models at $20 a month for ChatGPT. It's the tip of the iceberg. I mean, no AI is good at everything that you may need it to do. So you're going to have subscription on top of subscription. And developer costs to build, secure, and to maintain those AI integrations. Because if you're not protecting your artificial intelligence, anyone anywhere can insert data into that and ruin the pie for everybody. Fine-tuning a GPT model for your own customer support bot, which I highly recommend you do not do, that can run you tens of thousands of dollars just in compute alone. It gets very expensive and it's horrible. I've never seen one that's any good. Energy costs and the environmental impact of that. Training AI isn't like charging your phone. It's actually running a small power plant. Training GPT-3 used 1,300 megawatt hours of electricity, and that is enough to power around 150 U.S. homes for an entire year. All of that for one model, and you see, look around you and see all the AI models. that are currently available for you. And imagine how much power we're consuming to get us where we are right now. Anytime someone says AI will scale everything, remember, it scales carbon, it scales compute, and it scales complexity, right along with all the good things. Even AI that writes your emails doesn't mean no work. You need someone to prompt it and prompt it well. You need someone to review the output for tone, accuracy, and legality. You need someone to train staff to use your artificial intelligence responsibly. We've discussed it. Someone is going to need to manage the tool and the data integration. You're not replacing people. You are reassigning them to babysit AI. And that is an important point. People are not going to be displaced by artificial intelligence. They are going to be reassigned to babysit artificial intelligence, these AI programs. That may not be the best idea. And let's not forget brand damage costs. A bad AI generated email, one bad email can lose customers. And an inaccurate AI chatbot, which is even worse, leads to chargebacks, PR disasters, and lawsuits. An AI generated product description with the wrong specifications, the wrong colors, that kind of thing. You got returns, you've got refunds, you've got bad reviews. Cheap output does not equal cheap results. AI is not magic, it's machinery. And machinery needs fuel, it needs maintenance, and it needs oversight. AI can drive efficiency, barely, but only if you understand the true cost of making it run and you do not blindly chase automation thinking free money. A very bad idea. Number 9, artificial intelligence has no real world experience. It has never walked a mile in anyone's shoes. It doesn't understand what a busy street feels like or how hard it is to fire someone. AI can read everything that's ever been written, but it's never lived a single second. It's never closed a deal and felt the pressure. It's never lost a client and learned the hard way or built a team, fired the wrong person. It's never showed up to work sick. It's never slept in a warehouse just to hit a Black Friday target. AI has information. Humans have experience. That's a huge difference. A huge difference. And here's why that matters to you. Let's say you're negotiating a high stakes contract. AI may suggest to you anchor high, use social proof, and establish scarcity. Now, that sounds like pretty good advice, but not if you've been in that room before, because you know that the person across the table doesn't give a good goddamn about scarcity. And you've already pushed too hard, and your partner pushed too hard in the last round. And the office politics around this shows that AI has absolutely no clue. So the textbook answer becomes the wrong answer in the real world, and it could severely damage the outcome. AI can respond with empathy scripts like, I'm sorry to hear that. I completely understand your frustration. When it does not understand your frustration, it doesn't feel your customer's pain at all. It doesn't know what it's like when the wedding dress arrived a week late or someone's parent's medical device failed overnight. It cannot adapt based on gut instinct, emotional intelligence, or a lived empathy. It mimics what it's read. You might ask AI, what's the best way to grow a direct-to-consumer brand? And it'll give you a blog post answer. Build your community, optimize your conversion, leverage your influencers, scale with paid ads. Oh, great advice. Textbook advice. But it doesn't know your supply chain issues, your razor-thin margin, or that your best influencer just quit Instagram. It knows theory. You live the reality. Think Think of artificial intelligence. Think of AI as the kid who's read every business book in the library, but has never once run a business. Hell, he hasn't even worked in a business before. Knowing all of the things in the business books in every library, that's useful, but up to a point. When the storm hits, when something breaks, when you're down to your last 10K, would you rather bet on AI? Or would you rather have someone who's been through the storms already? AI has no scars. It has no instinct. It has no reputation built over time. And that's exactly why it needs you, not the other way around. We've done just fine without AI for eons. And without AI, we would be just fine. AI needs you. You don't need AI. You bring experience to the table. AI brings data. And the second you confuse the two, you're putting your business at risk. Finally, number 10, and probably, if not the most important, but it's definitely up there. Number 10, AI cannot take responsibility. You cannot sue it. You cannot fire it. You cannot blame it. In business, someone always has to be held accountable. It will never be the AI. Here's the cold, hard truth. AI can make decisions, but it will never be held accountable. No matter how advanced your tech stack is, if something goes wrong, the lawsuit, the backlash, the fine, the canceled customers, the angry audience, it all lands on you. Who's to blame when the AI fails? Let's say that your AI recommends a dangerous product to a child. Your AI chatbot gave false medical advice, very bad medical advice, led to a very bad outcome. Your AI writes a social post that offends hundreds of thousands of people. Your artificial intelligence hiring tool systematically filtered out qualified candidates, minority or otherwise. Guess what? The AI doesn't apologize. It will never take a pay cut. It won't get fired. You will. AI does not own outcomes. Humans own outcomes. Amazon once built an internal AI system to help them with hiring. It was trained on all past resumes. Guess what happened? Because of Amazon's past hires were men, the AI started penalizing resumes that included the word woman. Women's colleges, resume got downgraded. Captain of the women's chess team, red flagged, booted from the system. It wasn't intentional, wink, wink, but it was baked into the data, and nobody noticed until it was far too late. The result, there was a massive PR fallout. There was an internal investigation. They scrapped the entire system. The AI was not responsible. Amazon was responsible. AI has no ethics, no values, no skin in the game. It doesn't care if your brand reputation tanks. It doesn't feel any regret for that. It doesn't face any public backlash. It doesn't get sued. It doesn't get subpoenaed. It will keep pumping out output, even if that output is offensive, illegal, biased, or wrong. You cannot point at the algorithm and say, the AI's fault. No. Court of law and the court of public opinion won't care. And here's what this means for your business. You must review what your artificial intelligence does. Anything you deploy like that, you must set ethical guidelines. You must have a human fail-safe in place, watching with a keen eye what your artificial intelligence is doing. At the end of the day, you and you alone will own the output. Think of AI as an intern with infinite speed, but zero judgment. Zero judgment. If you don't supervise it, you are going to pay the price. AI is a tool. It will not ever be a shield. It can help you automate, optimize, and scale, but it cannot take the fall when things go sideways. So the next time somebody says to you, let's let AI handle it, make sure you ask, who's going to be responsible if this thing breaks? Because if your name's on the door, the buck still stops with you. All right, everybody, AI is powerful, but it is not magic. It's not human. It's not responsible. Know the limits. You'll make better decisions. You'll avoid costly mistakes, and maybe you'll even build a more human business in the process. Now, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Straight Talk Commerce. If this helped you to see AI with a clearer mindset, clearer eyes, please share it with a colleague or leave a review. Make any comments down below. If you've had a crazy or enlightening experience with artificial intelligence, hit me up. If you'd like to debate any or all of these points with me, I am your Huckleberry. I am glad to do that anytime, any place. Everyone knows that. But most of all, I just love to hear your artificial intelligence stories. So until next week, stay sharp, stay skeptical, and let's keep it human.
No hype, just the real deal. Wayne Altman's here, yeah, you know the drill. Talking business, talking shop, making moves non-stop. From e-com to hustle, straight talk, no props. Straight talk, no gimmicks, no lies. Hey, I break it down with the sharpest minds. Money, moves, mindset, grind. If you're ready to win, then tune in. Triple big names, big games. All the lessons they bring, from Jelly Belly to AA Kings. From the startup grind to the top tier pros, we crack the code. Now here we go. Straight talk, commerce, getting to know with Wayne Altman. Let's start the show.